This is exactly what I did to make my first $10,000 online. And I'm gonna walk you through how I got my first 10 customers, what I did right, what I did wrong, so that you can copy me. So I had always been into fitness. From the time I was 13, 14 years old, I was already lifting weights and was really into it in college, was the vice president of the powerlifting team. And then I had my consulting job. And I talked about fitness all day long. I read articles all day. And so much so that the people I worked with were like, dude, if you don't get into fitness, we'll front you the money to do this because you don't stop talking about it. And so I annoyed enough people around me that I was like, okay, maybe I am gonna do this. And so that's what created the free training project. And so the idea was I would ask people to donate $500 to $1,000 to the charity of their choice. And in exchange, I would train them for 3 months for free. It was free because they didn't pay me, but they still had to donate to something they cared about. But the thing that really made it click for me, where I was like, you know, I'm gonna do something here, is that there was this lady at my gym named Sandy Smith, and she saw me working out, and I was on the powerlifting team in my local area, and I was competing, and I had other guys who were competing there too. And it was clear that we knew we were doing something well. So she asked me, because I looked the least intimidating, because I was the most jacked. That's why I looked the least intimidating. She said, hey, can you help me with my food? And I was like, sure. And she said, well, meet me at a pizza shop and you can talk to me about my food, which is just hilarious. I meet her at the pizza shop and we talk for like an hour and a half about, it's like, hey, try buy these things instead of that, maybe get more protein in. This is the stuff that I like. I walk through everything. And I was happy to do it because I just like talking about fitness stuff. And at the end of the conversation, she reaches down to her purse and she puts her purse on the table, and then she reaches in and she grabs her checkbook and she writes $100 check to me. And the check was literally this big. It was a clown check. And I was like, why are you a clown? Why am I a clown? Is this a joke to you? Is this my passion? Something that means nothing? No, I'm kidding. None of that was true. But she wrote me a check for $100 and she was like, thanks so much. And she slid it across the table and she gave it to me. And then she walked out and I remember being like, holy shit, I can make money doing this? I was like, that's pretty cool. And so that was like the light bulb moment for me to say like, I'm gonna actually go from this is a passion to I wanna make this something I make profit from. So there's 4 stages that I went through in order to get to my first 10 customers. So the first stage I started with was homies. Reach out to the people who know you and like you. And so for me, honestly, all I did was I took out this amazing piece of technology, which is my phone. And then I looked through my contacts, leads, reached out to a handful of my friends, and I got about 6 of them-ish to say, yes, I will let you train me for free because we're friends and you need before and after pictures. And that's pretty much all I did. It wasn't really that hard because people knew that I loved fitness and I just said, I'll help you for free and be a homie. And they said, sure. And so the reason I started with homies specifically was because I needed before and afters. I needed testimonials. I needed results. Because I figured if anybody was like me, they would think, well, sure, maybe you say that you can do that, but why should I believe you? And so I solved really over the top. And this habit, maybe I lucked into it the first time, but I have done it with every single business I have ever started, which is get proof before anything. Like if you have 100 pieces of proof and a terrible offer versus an amazing offer and no proof, the guy with 100 pieces of proof is gonna win. You don't even need that many pieces of proof for people to believe you. You need proof that is similar enough to them that they will believe that what you did for that person will also work for them. And so the testimonials that I had one guy who lost 50 pounds. I had a girl who lost 50 pounds. I had a guy did like a recomposition. He stayed the same weight, but like looked crazy different afterwards. And so that kind of like covered a handful of different avatars for me later. Now that wasn't on purpose. That just kind of worked out to who responded to me and they all had different goals, but it worked to show that I knew what I was doing. After I had my homies, this took me like 6 months. So mind you, it's like, I will take 3 minutes in this video to explain it, but it was 6 months of my life. And if you're like, man, I wanna get rich in 6 seconds, that's amazing. Wait for stage 4, because I'll tell you what I would have done differently to make this happen faster. But the second step I did was I asked them for referrals. Referrals are the most important type of marketing for a variety of reasons. Number 1, referrals are free. And so if you are poor, great place to start. Number 2, referrals have higher likelihoods of buying at higher prices. So that means these leads are worth more than every other type of lead because they have a higher conversion rate and at higher prices, which is banger. Third reason that they're also more valuable leads is that people who come from referral are also more likely to refer. And so the way that you come in is the more likely way that you will get somebody else to come in. For all those reasons, referrals are sweet. The big picture reason that referrals are so important when you're starting is that if you're not getting any, it means you're not that good. And so you don't want to let more people know you suck. So instead, You want to let as few people know that you suck until eventually people find out about how good you are, which is the right thing. Then you can pour gas on the fire and do all the other ways of advertising. And so for those of you who are starting out, who are really just at the very beginning here, then I want to give you what I wish I knew. And believe it or not, we're actually running this as a little experiment inside of Skool right now, and the results are astounding. I'm not going to share the stats yet, but they're really, really good. We took the rule of 100 for warm outreach, and we've actually kind of like broken it down into something, a 3-step process that's really tactical. They're calling it the rule of 300. And if you don't know what the rule of 100 is, which I talk about in my $100 million leads book, it's the fundamental process of applying 100 repetitions to any of these things. So 100 warm outreaches means you reach out to people who know you. Mind you, it doesn't have to be your homies. Like you probably have 300, friends on Facebook and 500 followers on Instagram or whatever, 300 people inside of your cell phone. Like those are all the people you know. You reach out one-on-one to 100 plus cold prospects, people who don't know you. You spend 100 minutes making content and then you post that content. To be clear, you don't just spend 100 minutes making content and do nothing, you post it. And then finally, you can spend $100 a day on ads at minimum. All right, that's how you get started. Now, obviously you can spend more on ads, but you should spend at least 100 minutes making the ads, researching, looking at hooks, recording, etc. But if you do that every single day, you will get customers because you will let people know that you exist. Now, the rule of 300, it's really just taking the rule of 100 for warm outreach and breaking it down into 3 steps. So I'll break down all 3 for you right now. So number 1 is you post content. Just make a post. All right, one piece on one platform. Very simple. All right, you don't need to overcomplicate this. After you make the post, you do 100 comments. All right, this is really big. Now, the comments, my recommendation is you do it inside of a group or a community. Now, the reason that we do it inside of a group is that 1, it's going to be a pool of all of your ideal customers. And the goal of the comments is to make the best comment. All right, so if you look at all the comments that are on someone, when you make it as a comment inside of a group, there's 2 benefits that you might not have thought of. 1 is that inside of a group, you're not competing against everyone. You're now just competing against everyone inside the group. Secondarily, you're not competing against everyone even inside the group. You're competing against everyone in the comments. And so it makes you look like you're super good, even though you're just this much better because you actually took a minute to make a comment rather than just like cool stuff or awesome, right? That's not going to do it. You have to put out a thoughtful response to each post. Now, the posts that you do, you should just use them as prompts. So it should be a lot easier for you to come up with comments than to come up with content. All right, so that's the second step. Now, the third step is that we now basically apply the rule of 100 to our new warm list. You're like, what's the new warm list? So this is it's like lukewarm. It's like right between cold and warm. And so what it is everyone who liked your post, anyone who commented on your post, and anyone who liked any of your comments, now this is gonna be a pretty big one, or replied to your comment. All right, so that basically gives you 4 different sources to find the leads that you do your one-on-one outreach. So this should hopefully solve the big, like, who do I reach out? These people. And the reason we did this, and this is key, the reason that we go after these 4 people is because these 4 categories have all done one thing which changes them from strangers. They have taken an action. They've indicated interest. And so the point of advertising, which I define in the leads book, is to go from an unengaged lead, which is just a person you can contact, to an engaged lead, which is a person you can contact who has shown interest in the stuff that you sell, or at least has shown interest in you. With that, this sounds really minor, but it's huge. You can then begin the conversation by saying, hey, saw you, liked my content, what about it drew you in? Or like, what made you do that? Or, oh, that was so cool of you, whatever. Hey, I saw you commented, or thanks for that comment, and question, right? Don't just say thanks for the comment. That's not gonna start a conversation. You ask a question. What made you do that? Are you looking to get in shape, clean your house, get organized, whatever the thing your content was about? Hey, I saw that you liked my comment. Are you looking to? Right? And so anybody who's following the type of content that you're commenting on, by the way, comment on, like if you're selling dog stuff, comment on dog stuff. Don't comment on, crypto make money stuff and try and find dog people. Now, then again, who knows? But if I'm gonna pick where I'm gonna make my comments, I'm gonna target posts that already have the types of people that I wanna sell to commenting and posting on it. All right. And then finally, people who reply to your comment are gonna probably be some of the warmest leads because they've already read the thing, took the time they already basically messaged you in a way by replying to your comment. So this, if you think about this, is like, we only need 100. If you make a post and you get 25 likes, it's like, boom, there's my first 25 reach outs. Then I've got people who commented. Maybe I've got 3 or 4 comments. Okay, there's another 3 or 4. Then I make my 100, remember? Remember here? So let's link these up. So these two go to this, and then these two go to this one. Let's see if I can cross the chasm here. There. So if you then do 100 comments, you're going to at least get 100 likes or responses. Because if you actually take that much time, the person who you made the post on will likely take the time to like your comment because they want to encourage other people to leave long, thoughtful comments like that. This is one-on-one lead gen for you not having any audience. So it's gone. Like you have no more excuse. This works. And the results that we're getting are fucking awesome, which I'm really stoked about. I'll share the stats later. We're doing it as a big experiment. And there's one more reason that I think this is really sexy. Comments on a big post will get way more reach than your initial content, especially if you're starting from zero, because you basically get to piggyback on the reach that other people's content gets. And so it's in a weird way, it's almost like you running mini ads. Now, to be clear, you want to have thoughtful comments. You don't want to say like, buy my shit. Like that will, one, probably get you blocked by the person whose content it is, but also you look like a shithead, so don't do that. So you want to have a thoughtful response, and this will take time. To be clear, like, well, how many hours a day will this take? And notice I mentioned hours a day. It'll probably take you 2 to 4 hours to do this every day. But objective number one when you're starting out is let people know you exist because no one does. So I asked my homies after getting them results. So I provided value first and I said, hey man, I've got your before and afters. I need like a few more. Can you send me some friends that have seen your results? And a lot of them had like people were telling them like, dude, you lost 50 pounds. You look awesome. Or like, hey, you have a bikini now. Like you didn't even want to go outside without covering yourself up. Like this is great. And so I got probably another 6 to 10-ish referrals from those first 6. And a totally different thing happened here. These people didn't know who I was. They just knew that I had helped their friend out. And these people cared way less about like helping me and cared way more about just helping them, which unsurprising, fine. But the thing that happened was because it was free, none of them really did anything. And so that became a problem. And so then I was like, shoot, that whole thing didn't work. So then I moved on to stage 3, which was the free training project. And so that is the title that we owe this section to. And so what I did was I said, hey, now when you refer someone, just donate $500 to $1,000 to the charity of your choice. That way you still have skin in the game, but it's still effectively free in that you're not paying me. And so I was then public about it. People were like, this is awesome. And then a lot of people came in to support the fact that I was kind of doing this for charity. But long term, I wanted to find a way to turn this into something that I could make money from. And so the next phase of customers, this gave me everything that I needed to then transition to paid. And so from there, I went to the Skinny to Swole project. Now, publicly, this was a year later. And so this was where I asked new people to pay $200 a month for 12 weeks to go from skinny to swole. And I had all these great transformation pictures from my friends, from the people who went through the free training project to then do skinny to swole. And I was able to transfer, and this is a key point, I was able to transfer people from the free training project into skinny to swole without really losing many of them. I just said, hey, you know how you paid for 12 weeks to this charity? Want to pay me instead, whatever you paid them? And they were like, sure. I didn't really care because again, all these people, they came because their friends got results. They were like, this is weird that this guy's making me donate to a charity, but I guess it's fine. They just cared about getting in shape. But that was me overcoming my own like fear of charging for making money. And so that is when I got to my first 20 clients in Skinny to Swole, which is me posting and then reaching out to everyone else I knew with all the testimonials from the first 3 stages to say, hey, I'm now officially launching this thing. And I got 20 guys to pay $200 a month. And that was my first $4,000 per month. And that was for 12 weeks. And that was my first 12 grand. Now, you might be like, wait, so what do I do if I'm you? Well, let me tell you what I would have done if I knew everything that I know now. So here's bonus number 5. I'll put little stars around it. What would I have done if I knew what I know now? Great. So that's what this section is. There are a lot of different businesses that you can potentially start. The reason that I think for beginners, starting an online service business is the easiest one to start is because it costs the least amount of money and it has a lot of good economics around it, meaning it costs almost nothing to deliver. There's low recurring overhead. You can do it from any place in the world. If you're watching this video, you already have all the technology required. And so like basically everything is there for you to start and you get to learn all of the mistakes that you're going to inevitably learn on a low stakes business first. Hey, and I want to write you a check real quick, and not just any kind of check, but one that you can actually take to the bank. And this is about starting a Skool community. The reason that I decided to become a co-owner and made a massive investment in Skool, the platform, is because for 4 years I was looking for what is the easiest business online that I can help people get started. Because I have a massive amount of my audience are business owners that do 1, 5, 10, 100 million plus a year, and that's who watches my stuff. And I have a lot of deeper content for really tactical stuff once you're at 20 employees, 50 employees, 100 employees, 250 employees. But if you're just starting out, then it's like, yeah, that stuff's amazing, but what do I do today? And so I want to give you this check because this check is what the average Skool community that's paid and monetized on the platform makes in recurring revenue per month. And so, no, this is not a bazillion-dollar check. This is not gonna get you to be the richest person in your neighborhood, but it can help get you started. And so the tactics that I outlined earlier about the rule of 300, we're doing this right now for people inside of Skool, and it's murdering. And so I recommend that you start, because the coolest part of this whole thing is that you can start absolutely free. And so if that sounds at all interesting, I take a call every single Monday. You can go there, skool.com/games. I'm sure there's some link somewhere. Just let me know that you're new. I hop on, I answer questions. We walk through basically what we saw after studying thousands of communities that are paid and doing well. And we just try to reverse engineer and boil it down to like, what are the actions they took? And so the instructions are very much like, do this X times per day. Do this Y times per week. And if you just follow the instructions, you will get an exceptional result. Click the link, fill out your information. I'll see you on the inside.